if you don't shoot your shot and stop sitting around waiting for some magical sign to tell you that you're supposed to go out and do something, then you're going to be sitting and waiting for a long time. Shoot your shot. Shoot your shot. I am a romantic baddie. I've talked about this before, and I also am one of the people who follow and add to the love readings that we see here on so many platforms. But I think the one thing that love readings forget to leave out for the listener is that you, as the human avatar, have to cooperate and listen to the actions you need to take when you're in these types of spiritual or emotional romantic bonds, right? The twin flame, I've already talked about that. If you want it, you can have it. In the twin flame relationship, you're going to have a runner, a chaser, instant connection. It's going to feel deep. It's going to feel this. It's going to feel that. But guess what? In every twin flame connection I've seen, it's always about the masculine catching up to the feminine. It is an old tale that has been told many, many times before. And if you want to join that collective, join them. It's your choice. As LGBT plus, I identify as feminine energy. I am also masculine energy, so I understand both worlds. I, as the feminine, am not going to sit and wait for a masculine to catch up to me, ever. It makes no sense to. I'm not saying that you, as a feminine, can't do that. Remember, you have to know what your journey is. If you have more masculine energy in your feminine body and you want to take over as the masculine to nurture that divine masculine into his full or their full masculinity, that is up to you. I'm not raising a boy to be a man. They need to come to me prepared. Soulmate energy. This is where you get somebody who is equally yoked as you, right? You both show up consistently enough for yourself. You both show up consistently enough for each other, but you're more independent. You don't really need them. It's not something that you're fantasizing over. But because there's a soul connection, you're drawn to this person and you have things that are in common. A lot of the times, again, parentification, I feel, steps in more so in the soulmate relationship than the twin flame, because in the soulmate, you both have to recognize the triggers of how you were parentified and if you are okay with that in this new relationship and letting that person show up the way they need to show up so that it balances you, right? Now that we have those two out of the way, there is still the choice of not being with anyone. You don't have to date anyone, but be prepared as a whole person who is single by themselves to be open to the opportunity of love when it presents itself. If you are not, then don't get in the game. The reason the twin flame journey sucks because people who aren't ready are jumping in the game and they're confusing the people who are ready, right? This is not a bad relationship to be in. The twin flame is not a horrible relationship. It's just a constant teaching and letting that person catch up. And then you're going to be getting taught and then you're catching up. And you both have to have space enough to say, this person has to catch up to me. Again, the soulmate relationship, you're already completed. You're full souls. You just have to decide if you want to make space for that person. Do I want them in my life or not, right? These are the two roads that the romance tropes keep taking. The one who's available but not ready, the one who's not emotionally available but they're ready, right? It's always like, how do you want to be in a relationship but you're not emotionally available? Or how you want to be in a relationship but you're not financially stable? These are the two timelines we keep running into. At the end of the day, you, the avatar who's single by yourself right now, can become both of those energies. You can become the twin flame who's working on their maturity and emotions in the spiritual world. You can become the soulmate who's working on their physical avatar world to make sure that there's structure and completion to it. So that when you meet either one of these energies out in the wild, you can decide if you want to participate in the twin flame or soulmate relationship. The twin ray, I call the power couples, right? Twin rays are people who've done the work. Not only are they physically attractive to each other, they're physically attracted to everyone else. Not only did they have an instant connection, they just work. But their souls also have done the work. So their souls have an instant connection and they understand each other and they've done the work. And this is where you get people where they're like, they're too good to be true. No, they just did the work, so they're not on your level. You are not qualified for that person. So there's more people who are coming up to the qualification line, but they're not being patient with themselves enough to see that you have to remain that stable person who knows who they are in their emotions and logic, so that you call in the most suitors that you get to choose from. What's happening is you're giving up on your timeline and you're just settling for one over the other before you close out the cycle. And then when you get in this relationship, you think that you're supposed to be with that other person, and you end up leaving a good person to go be with that person that ends up turning out to be a karmic. That's how karmic relationships happen. You thinking that you didn't get what you deserve because you didn't do the work to close the cycle. Close these cycles before you look for marriage. Close these cycles before you look for a deep relationship. I mean it. You're supposed to go out and date people and learn the avatar of energy that you used to call in your past lives, and overcome those energies that stagnated you and stopped you from your soul purpose. Because that's what this is all about. The universe is not giving certain people their energies because in past lives they let that energy sabotage their timeline and didn't finish God's work. And God is like, listen, I'm the type of person that I'm tit for tat. You got to give me something for me to work with. You don't have to give anything. The universe will always bless you, right? The universe is not somebody cherry picking who gets what. The universe is like, hey, if you have the path and you did the work, I'm going to lay it out in front of you. What happens is, again, we have our own free will, we have our own trauma, and we have our own things from the past that we carry around with us, and we don't close those cycles. And then those cycles remain open, and we keep meeting people and hurting people and meeting souls and hurting souls. And so then when they try to communicate, no one's shooting their shot. No one's saying, hey, I am ready and available to be that person that you want me to be. I am ready and available to step up to do what you think is necessary. Instead, they're afraid of what happened in the past, and they're stopping what can happen in the present. They're stopping what's going to happen in the future because you can't let go of the past because you didn't do the work. It's that simple. Shoot your shot. Doesn't matter what part of the journey you're in. Shoot your shot. If there's somebody that you see fits you and works for you, shoot your shot. Let them know what you're going through. Let them know what you're working on, and continue to be consistent on that path. And what happens is you shoot your shot, you give up, and then you become a goon. And that's not going to help anyone. Who is that helping? No one. So you have to understand that this game is not just about being out there and being available and saying that you're ready for love. If you haven't done the work to know that there's cycles that have to be closed so that you can walk into new cycles open and available and ready, so that the universe can then bless you, then you will call in the energy you deserve. No one's ever saying that you can't call these energies in now. They're just going to come in a little more tattered, a little more bruised, and depending on that person's free will and ego, distorted or not, you're going to have to do a lot of work to work through it to get to where you want. That's why people say it's a lot of work and it's hard and it ain't easy, because you're working with someone to get them there. That's a choice. Again, I'm not saying that you're going to ever have a relationship without hardships. What I am saying is pick the best suitor who's going to do the work with you so that you don't have as many hardships, right? So shoot your shot. Stop wasting people's time not knowing if you're good enough or not, because at the end of the day, no one's good enough for anybody. That's just my truth. I'm not good enough for anybody. No one's good enough for me. But we can make ourselves good enough for each other if we choose to be when it's time. As long as you know that you have the ability to be malleable and be open enough to change with growth, because that's what change is, growth. Even if you don't like it, unfortunately, may it expand or contract. Anytime the shape of something changes, you have to be able to move with it and go with the ebb and flow. Because if not, you're going to be sitting here waiting, hoping and wishing for something to come to you, but you're not doing any of the work. When we talk about work, again, if you know that you are anxious anxiety, do the work. If you know that you're an anxious avoidant, do the work. Whatever these titles are that people love to throw around, these are just titles to let you know who you are to do the work, not titles for you to own it and then make other people come in and do the work. That don't make no sense. So shoot your shot, live your life, grow with love, and it will grow with you. Bezos.